Good day and welcome to this special edition of Spotlight we're calling GM's Corner, a regular series of short conversations with LMOA's General Manager Steve Hurwitz about what's on his desk and what's on his mind. Mr. General Manager, well, we're swinging into fall here, and part of that means the 2020 budget process, which I gather is in full swing and takes on, shall we say, a finer point this year, considering the members' rejection of two proposed dues increase at last June's annual meeting. So how do we stand?
Well, it is, we're heavy into it right now. And there are a couple of factors. One is we promised the community, the board and the staff did, to wring out every penny from the budgeting process. That would have been true regardless of the outcome of the votes on Propositions 1 and 2. But we do have the reality of what did happen. So it's very important. In fact, I just came from a meeting with one of our bigger departments looking at personnel cost, equipment cost, and so forth. And there are some things we need to do that require expense, but there are also savings possibilities. So in this morning session, for example, the increase in cost here and there, some here, some there, were way more than offset by savings that we were able to find in the preliminary documents that go into making up the budget, including the reserve study. Of course, this is all a draft budget to be heavily reviewed by committees, particularly the Finance Committee and then the board. And then on top of that, it's very important, it's critical that all the owners be able to participate, make input, observe what's going on. So we'll have a little box, kind of a scoreboard report of all the meetings. We've already answered a couple of questions from some people. When there are opportunities for them to see the material, to come in on it directly to the board or to me while I'm sitting there, that's fine. And we're looking forward to that. You know, it is the owner's money. It is their community. We're very mindful of that and looking forward to their inputs. In fact, some of the inputs from last year, from the last round, when we said we would look to squeeze everything we could that was appropriate, we're still working on. Some of them have a little bit of a long lead time. Some others we were able to do in short order, but we're continuing to work on many of the bigger ideas, and we look forward to new big ideas.
The committees, in their review, now they have their own sessions of review, and of course they are open to all members as well. Committee meetings are, and then when the board will be scheduling work sessions, will they not? At which, of course, the public is obviously certainly entitled and I think encouraged to attend and ask questions there.
But Ron, that's a great point. The board meetings are kind of a capstone. So an awful lot of the detail work that precedes that is done at the committee level, and we're very lucky. We have extremely well-led committees. They're very businesslike, and there's a real opportunity for any owners or other residents that are interested in either listening and learning or inputting, commenting on things. The committee meetings are a great opportunity. They're a little bit less formal in their setup and the way the meetings are run. And again, there's an awful lot of talent on the committees.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll look forward to advising people of all those opportunities in addition to any other way they'd like to communicate. It is a big deal, and we know it.
Yeah, sure thing. And so final board approval then, is that the December board meeting?
Yes, that's at the December meeting. It's kind of a, you know, it seems like it's a long, difficult process. We've actually been involved in doing a lot of preliminary work on certain aspects for quite a long time, and it's a good thing because you can't squeeze it all in at the end. So I can report the staff's been working on some of the major items for quite a while.
All right. Well, people should stay tuned and stay involved, as the saying goes. As you point out, it's our money. That's
yes, indeed.
Okay. Well, of a kind of a weird sort of recycling kind of program of our own, that as our dredging program continues in the coves, and we dredge up spoils, and now they turn into basically free dirt available to the members. How's that working?
Very well. The maintenance department, headed by Tom Schauder, has figured a way to increase the amount of dredging that we're doing on a regular basis, and that all kicked off at the end of June, just slightly before the end of June. And on that basis of the increased amount of hours that we're able to do dredging, we're actually looking to increase our dredging, total dredging for the year. The numbers are kind of mind-boggling, but in previous years we've done around 3,400 cubic yards, which is an awful lot of material per year. And our goal for this year that we're on track to achieve, and we're keeping our fingers crossed because it's heavy machinery and somewhat weather-dependent operation, but with even the slightest bit of luck, we hope to achieve the goal of 5,000.
Oh.
So if you take 5,000 compared to, let's say, 3,400, you know, that's
You're talking significant.
That's a significant increase. And we're looking at other ways to improve the effectiveness and efficiency of the dredging program for a lot of reasons, and also looking at the most cost-effective way to do that. So that's among the detailed work that's been going on for quite some while about improving things that we do and so forth. We may even be able to do even better with dredging, but that remains to be seen. But we are definitely shooting for and hoping to achieve the goal of 5,000 cubic yards this year. And we'd be very pleased with that. And I think that'll show visible signs of improvement in the lake and the shorelines and the surrounding areas.
And so now we have a schedule where people just may come and pick up quantities, whatever they're able to haul away?
Yes, indeed. People should look for announcements of the times, which are sometimes on Fridays, Saturdays, and it is weather dependent. We have been rained out from time to time, but people with whatever conveyance they can come. They're able, with our help, to fill up their trucks and other containers and haul away as much dirt as they can use. That's been pretty successful. We've even had people who are working with contractors have their contractors come and do that. And we're very glad to do that.
Yeah.
We're also looking at ways to dispose of even more of the spoils, because keeping space available for the increased amount that is due to come out of the lake is important. In fact, Tom Shatter has a plan to accommodate that both in the short run and perhaps in the longer run, something even more expansive than that. But we're very pleased when people can come and grab the dirt and use it instead of having to buy it.
Yeah, surely. And this schedule, I know there's been an email blast on it for when the coming events will be, if people can come and fetch.
Yes, they should stay alert for the usual means. There's always Lakeview's newspaper, the webpage, and email blast. The email blast will tend to have the latest information about that. And again, we're very glad when people can take advantage of that.
Right, okay. We discussed safety issues last month when the public schools reopened, and yet you had some further comment on this at this time. Is there anything that precipitates this?
Well, I'm very glad to report that we've had no accidents, and we want to keep it that way, but certainly we want to be devoted to this and keep paying attention to it. So there are two things. One, people should know that for the first time, we've been invited to participate in the school district's monthly safety program, where they take great care to look at all the aspects that are involved in children's safety and other people involved in the whole education endeavor also. In addition to that, there's a separate point, which is when people take their children in their vehicles to the vicinity of the bus stops, because sometimes it's a very long walk and it's getting darker as we approach the fall.
Early morning, right.
So we have children walking in the dark or at the bus stop in the dark. What we'd love people to do is, if they're in their vehicle, to not park directly in front of the corner, the intersection where the bus will stop. In fact, blocking the stop sign, and then having the traffic having to swing wide around. If people could just back up 50 feet, and at the same time, if it's at all possible, especially when we start getting the wet weather in the fall, not pull into the easements, because you can create a 6-inch deep groove in the dirt like that when you drive over it, and it doesn't go away quickly.
Yeah.
So we want people to be safe, but we are asking that they don't pull right adjacent to the intersection itself,
All right. Well, that's certainly good advice and well taken. And we have a lot of school buses rattling around early in the morning. So and people getting up and going to work. There's a lot of activity, and so we really all do need to be vigilant. No question about that.
It is something a community can be proud of,
Yeah.
and continue to be proud of.
Fortunately, yes, absolutely. You mentioned communication a few moments ago, and I know just historically, people are always looking for a way to communicate, to vent if they want to, et cetera, shall we say. You get an awful lot of communications. Obviously, too many of you, that's all you'd be doing all day if that's all you did all day, you know. But there are ways of getting people want to talk or get their message to the board. There are ways of doing that.
Well, that's a very genuine interest that people have, no doubt. It's valid. So there is, of course, the opportunity to come to a board meeting and sign up to talk either in general during one session where people can get 5 minutes, and or specifically about what's on the agenda. What's on the agenda is the first open forum period during any board meeting, and then later there's a chance to talk about anything. So that's great, and the board pays careful attention. I and other staff members that happen to be there take notes. We try very hard to follow up on all of it, although there is a large volume sometimes, but we do make a big effort to do that. But people shouldn't be concerned that that's the only way to communicate to the board. There's plenty of other ways. There's a contact the board system that you can click on the webpage and communicate directly with the board. There's also another way, which is, as I mentioned before, to go to committees. That is, if someone has a concern or a point they want to make, it's not always the most efficient to start with the board because the committees are doing the hands-on work. And so I would offer to people the chance to, hey, look at the schedule that's on the webpage and think about going to a committee meeting. Then in addition, there's another thing. They can email me directly and say, this is for the board. I will package that up and get it to the board. And so their point will have been communicated. And I'm glad to do that. Haven't had much of that, and I've made that offer before, but I'd like to make that offer again because I think that's important for people to not think that the only way to communicate to the board is to come to a meeting. The board meetings are not great opportunities to get to a huge back and forth. It's very difficult for the board to do. And so these other venues actually could involve some more back and forth. It's a little less formal. And I, for one, look forward to the inputs. They're sometimes, and very often actually, supportive, or they're points that really need to be made, and we're very glad to receive those.
Or, yes, inquiry, suggestion, ideas, all of those things. And someone says, well, I'll mention that. Somebody might be interested in this. I'll mention it someday, and then they forget about it. But if they have a means of communicating to you, or even through you to the board or to the board directly, so much the better.
And there's also a kind of a negative side to that. I sometimes hear residents or owners say, well, I told a staff member, or I even told a board member something, and if you ask about when that happened, it will sometimes be in aisle 3 at Food Lion. Well, it's very hard for anybody that receives information that way to actually get it down, you know, precisely what the question or point was, and then follow up on it. Whereas if it comes in a written form, or at least at a meeting, at a venue where there are minutes, that helps capture it. So I would encourage people to do that. I know I get a lot of comments verbally. I try with my little brown book in my back pocket to record it all. It is quite a task.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Well, we've got a big celebration coming up the end of the month. As we know, this is the 50th anniversary of the formation of Lake Monticello. And we're celebrating it in various ways, have been throughout the year, and very creative and very accomplished in fun ways. And we got a biggie coming up the end of the month. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
We do. It's going to be a great day. It's the 28th of September, Saturday. And there'll be children's events and so forth all afternoon. In fact, our Lake Views has got a great little item about it in the bottom right-hand corner of the current issue.
There we go.
And so we're going to start with free boat rides. which is a big deal. You know,
Oh,
not everyone
yeah.
lives on the lake. Not everybody wanted to live on the lake, but there's an opportunity for anybody that would like to get out on the lake, see it, and enjoy that on what we hope is a beautiful fall day. And then from 3 to 6 p.m. in the Ashlawn parking lot, there'll be a Harry Potter bounce house, a character artist, balloon, animals, games, food, live music, and more. Primarily focused on children, but then children come with other people. And we think that'll be a great time. And then the gala event starting at 6 p.m., 50th anniversary celebration cocktail party. Tickets are $25 and available at Ashlawn at the front desk. And people are encouraged to dress in their 60s attire if they still have it.
We probably do.
I've been looking for bell bottoms, but then I was reminded I don't think I ever wore bell bottoms. But we're looking forward to seeing people looking like it's 1960, and you know, maybe a little Woodstock will creep in there. And so I think that'll be a great time. And the 50th is a big deal for a community like this. You know, I know it may sound it's not something you think about, but just surviving for 50 years is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, yeah.
And that has happened.
Sure is. It sure is. Well, thanks to generations of a lot of creative and hardworking people who have, through again the committee structure. It's all volunteer around here, except for you folks, except for the good hardworking staff. So it's all combined to make it, and we're still afloat, one thing and another. So anyway.
It's hard to imagine the total number of hours that have gone into it, just volunteer hours, but it's certainly well into the hundreds of thousands, if not even more, over all these years.
Oh, good Lord.
A huge amount of effort to keep the place going and thriving.
Absolutely. Well, and I'm sure a lot of people appreciate it and also take their own gratification from it as we maintain and move forward into the next half century, by Jove, don't you know. Well, anyway, thank you very much. We'll look forward to doing this again. How's that?
Glad to be with you, Ron.
Thank you. We've been talking with LMOA's General Manager Steve Hurwitz on GM's Corner. We hope you'll join us again another couple of weeks for another of these sessions, and also take in the full range of broadcasting by the broadcast group up on Channel 977 or, of course, on YouTube. So till any of us see you next time, thanks very much for watching. I'm Ron Kraus. On behalf of the broadcast group, good day.